Don't blink. It's your boy Ink. Oof. Open eye. Okay. Don't know what's up with the homie. Don't blink, it's your boy Ink. Welcome to the show. So doing well. So having a wonderful day on this 17th July 2025. It's okay, I'm safe. My door is not locked. We're safe, bro. Don't worry about it. Today we're doing a kind of like a rant. You know what? I should restart this video, but I think it had a little bit of something to it. Today we're talking about a subject that is kind of controversial. I'm gonna be trying not to be offensive, but I might be offending a couple people. And it's a follow up as to what I was talking about during the live TikTok live of today. Talking about veganism with Janice. And then, sorry, you brought up the vegan teacher, right? Talk about how aggressive she was, and talk about a vegan fatigue. And I gotta admit, you see, with Janice is actually a super cool problem, a super cool subject because he has his own belief, right? Not religious, but his general belief, and there's something that you could say he celebrates. I cannot tell you more because I don't know how secret it is, but there's this group of people that he follows. And this group of people is also a kind of like in the margin, right? So, for example, you see your absolute normal person, and what society present a normal person as, and then you have a couple of groups that are not falling into these category or these certain specific requirements to be considered normal. And the high society, am I normal? Fuck no. Am I normal in real life? Possibly no. Okay, but and then the group of people that he follows, there was a lot of discrimination against in early days. So with Jen is talking about that, it was kind of cool because vegan. There's also this vegan fatigue. See, with the veganism movement, what really bothers me, think about veganism, of course, right? What it bothers me is that there's so many celebrities that are vegan and they're not out there saying, "Hey, you have to be vegan." They're not out there saying, "Hey, you know what? The way you are, this is not cool. Let's do this." So Janet brought up the vegan teacher. Now, of course, him bringing up the vegan teacher is him bringing up right away the extremists. So one of the person that is the most vocal about veganism, but also the most hated because of her point of view, because the way that she approaches things. And so we start talking about veganism, right? And we start talking about the thing is, see, for vegetarians are it's very complex. It's very complex as a subject. See, this is when I don't plan before I come. With vegetarian is, to me, this is super normal because yes, we were talking about this also with freaking my boss on Monday for a demo job, and his wife, she does a cleanse every single year, and she goes vegetarian, not vegan, vegetarian for a month. So, and he said it's a lot of work because they always have to check out their levels of protein. So they'll do a lot they'll do a lot of nuts, they'll do a lot of cheese, right? So vegan, it's only I'm gonna call it. You cannot have cheese. Nuts are good, berries are good, tofu is good because it's part of a plant. So you were talking about that, and to me, your personal food choice is entirely up to you. Now, you could you could argue about the safety of food. For example, I'm eating a lot, I'm eating enough. I'm eating a lot, I'm not eating enough. So what does that mean? I'm eating a lot, but am I getting the carbs that I need? Am I getting the proteins that I need? Am I getting every single nutriment that my body needs for that? I can spend a day eating chips. I'm not gonna get all the nutriment, but I'm gonna die tomorrow. No, over a prolonged period though, it's problematic because your body has these needs, for iron, these needs for magnesium, these needs for vitamins, right? Iron, carbon, carbos. It's simple. The way you work, the way you do it is you think about old Pokemon video games, which is yellow and silver. So you got zinc, you got carbos, you got calcium, you got protein, right? So this was pretty much it. So there's a certain kind of, for example, Nikocado. Nikocado also, I want to talk about Nikocado because he's honestly a person that I respect a lot. Nikocado Avocado, also part of the group, the same group as Genesis. I fucking adore Nikocado Avocado because you guys see this person that is very memeable, that does the it's your fault. The person that got into a beef with Penguin, the person that was getting parodied every single day. I saw the person 5 years ago, and I started listening to him, and that was my experience with Nikocado. The dude that told story, a dude that was doing an hour and a half videos of just eating and chilling, you know. So to me, that was super cool. To me, that was really important. To me, this was the proof of, how can I say that? To me, this was the proof that it's a so stupid thing. Nikocado was pre-content creation. Nikocado was pre-content creation, and Nikocado was how can I say this? I didn't watch Nikocado Avocado. I listened to Nikocado Avocado, and that's when I started watching it because at work I needed something to listen to, and he was one of the person that made the most content. I'm looking for more content, so it's like, okay, well, I can listen to him for like a week at work, and the week is gonna go faster, which is a great thing. So Nikocado comes in, right, and I'm starting to listen to him, and I really fall in love with the guy. Not love romantically, but love with the guy because of the content creator. Now, the whole Stephanie So happened, and then it went just downhill from there. So this was a bit of a shame. And the funniest thing is, I discovered Nikocado. I want to say November 2020, and then the thing with Stephanie So happens, and I'm like, holy shit, I'm not gonna be able to listen to you anymore because your content is so nasty right now. But then Nick was very open about his veganism and the pros of it, the cons of it. And then you had Orlin, who, see, so in the case of Nick, and this is opinion, and in the case of Nick, he said, I want to be vegan, but there's need to be something in between because we're unhealthy. And Orlin, he's like, I don't care about being healthy as long as I protect animal. There's truth to thinking about it, right? So, am I saying that there's not something wrong with veganism? No. Am I saying that you should eat yourself to death? Nah. No. I'm overweighted. I'm at the opposite of the spectrum. I eat too many junk food. I eat too many processed food. So I'm at the opposite. Should I change my eating habits? Absolutely. Absolutely. I should have changed them 5 months ago, 7 months ago. I'm 32 years old, and it's super hard to lose weight. Trust me. So I'm not super well versed in veganism, right? But the reason why I'm talking about that is because I would much rather learn it from Nikocado. Why? Because he has lived a lifestyle. Because he can tell you what's good. He might not agree with the lifestyle, but there's things that he's informed. Then for other content creators that are vegan, I'm gonna with Kane. Kane is like, I don't know his full name, but I watched a couple of his lives, to be honest, and I watched a lot of his TikTok. Is a guy that eats all the fruits. So what he does, which is super fucking cool, is he's gonna come in and he's gonna have a fruit. He's gonna show you the fruit. He's gonna show you the fruit and tell you what it is, and it's gonna tell you the texture, the taste. He's gonna tell you a life story, or he's gonna tell you a little life lesson. And that guy is a genuine good dude. He's amazing. He's amazing, and he teaches you about fruits. What I was talking about also Orlin. Orlin is berrytarian. Berrytarians are people that only eat berry. Yeah. So with Kane, he talks about the fruits, and he's making you more aware of fruits, which is the way to go. Dennis was talking about vegan teacher, and we're talking about aggressivity. In my case, I tend, not all the time, not every single day, but I tend to respond to aggressivity with aggressivity. That's the way I'm wired. Don't get mad at me because I'll get mad at you. This is a response, emotional response. At the same time, it's weird because if you're happy, I'm happy. If you're mad, I'm mad. So it's a kind of way of work. And then with the vegan t-shirt, we talk about that, right? And then I was talking about how eating meat was somewhat of a good thing. Uh, Killing the animals is a good thing, no. But at the same time, you're taking a cow, you're taking a chicken, right? And they don't have a defense system. They don't have defense mechanism when it comes to predators. So when you leave them in the jungle, they're basically up to themselves. Now, technically speaking, is that true? Yes and no. So if you look at, and again, this is what my perception. There's no fact behind it. I don't know if it's true or not. I don't know. But from what I understand is, for example, dogs. Look at dogs 1,000 years ago or 2,000 years ago. They weren't like that. Was breeding and breeding and breeding and breeding, domesticated. That made the dog the best animal, the man best friend, right? Cat, the same thing. So maybe it happened with chicken and cows. A bull will kill you, but a cow won't. So they're completely defenseless. So yes, you're breeding them to kill. You're breeding them to kill. And this is bad, of course. But then, even if you breed them to kill, and you ended up having a better life than if you were in the wild, then at the end of the day, I give you the chance. This is kind of crazy, but think about life in itself. Depending on the country that you're born in, depending on the parents that you have, depending on your parents' financial situation, you might have a great life or you might have a shitty life. It's all dependent. The cow is the same thing. It might be born on a farm, it might be born in the wild. And then you take another person, another animal that is part of the bovine family. Take the bison. Bison is a fucking monster. Try to kill a bison, it'll kill you first. So then we're talking about bred to kill, and I got kind of heated. I was like, don't you understand we're bred to kill? And this is the subject of the video, so I know it took some time to get there. And the craziest thing is the intro to be longer than the video because the video was actually quite simple. You guys want to defend animals that are bred to be killed, right? But what you don't understand is this is kind of normalcy. We are bred to be killed. We are bred from a very young age by parents that want us to be social. The parents, what they're gonna do is they're gonna bring you to the park, they're gonna bring you to the kindergarten, to the daycare, and they want you to be social. At school, you can succeed. At school, what you're gonna be learning is gonna be learning how to work. Work is gonna be part of society. So you're working and you're being part of something bigger than you, right? For example, you're a plumber. Because you're plumbing, people are able to go to the bathroom, they're able to drink water, they're able to do a lot. Right? You're an electrician, because you're an electrician. People are able to watch TV, be on the Wi-Fi, have a light. What we're doing right now is an electrician. I'm drinking water, it takes a plumber. It takes all people in the world to do a job, right? But what you have to understand is you're bred for a purpose. You're bred for being a positive working force in the system. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with being part of a system. Because again, we need the system to work. And for the system to work, we need people to make the system work. So there's a cycle. The system works, right? Works for us. And as a payback, we have to work for the system. The system continues and the cycle continues, right? But at the same time, we're bred for that. We're bred. People, they have incentive to have kids. The government would actually give you money for having kids. The government will give you money. In Canada, will give you a sum of money every single month to help you with the kids' needs. This is an investment at its purest form. You want you to be a working member of society. So you can pay back your debt to society. Not with money, but making sure the society survive. Right? And that's part of it. My father was raised on a farm. They used to take the cow, and he used to attach a huge hoe behind it, not a whore, but a hoe. And they would do the field like that. When they would do the field, I would plant the seed, then they have the same cow walk backward and put the dirt back. This is how people did. Now there's machinery, of course, but still, we're all part of a system. We're all bred to kill. You have a cycle of life, which is birth, from cradle to coffin. Then there's a more sinister way of seeing it. There's a more sinister way of seeing this. From nursery to retirement home, right? And if you want to go further, there's from first day at school to last day at work. You know? We're all bred for that. Is it wrong? I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm not saying wrong, but it's a cycle of life. Listen, a farmer, it's so complex because with veganism, I agree with a lot of what they say. Like I saw I'm not gonna even talk about the movie because it's disgusting. But there's a movie where they filmed people, and now it's controversial because they took the word slaughterhouse. People were basically kicking cows. They were really not doing a good job. They were purposefully hurting the animals. There's a very human way, very, very human way to kill the animals. For example, the Muslim, what they'll do is they'll slit the throat. I don't know how painful that is, but it's less painful than being beaten to death. There's a lot of way to be killing animals humanly. So we're talking about a air pistol, right? I know you should talk about that, but humanly. So yes, there's slaughterhouse that are completely against human nature. There's monsters. That I'm against. I'm against hurting animals, of course. But then, and I'm gonna say this in the nicest way possible. This is gonna be disgusting, and I'm sorry, but think about the person working, right? Think about the person working, and the person that's working, they have very poor life condition. It is the same as an animal that is uncomfortable. See, the difference between free range chicken and normal chicken, they'll be allowed to walk on fields, you know? Some animals, they never leave the barn in which they're born. That's fucked up. That is fucked up because it's not life. Hurting animals, either psychologically, emotionally, physically, it's bad, right? But at the same time, I mean, this doctor, this cook, Matty Matterson, who plays in The Bear, but is Canadian, has gone into hunting trip because he says, if I'm going to eat the beast, I want to be responsible for his life. I want to use every part of this animal because I slaughtered this animal. This is my responsibility that doesn't go to waste, you know. And then at the same time, there's such a discourse about that. I'm not against breeding animals for eating, but I'm against hunting. Which are both the same thing. They're both killing the animals. How many people have hunted, taking the head and left the body? Disgusting. It's disgusting. They take the rhinos. They hunt them for their horn, which is the primordial system of defense, right? They take the walrus tusk. How many sharks were hunted for their fins? And yeah, but ink, the predator. So, it's a cycle of life. It's a cycle of life. I'm against that. You see, it's a tough question because, but then at the same time, with vegetarian, and this wasn't the main purpose of the video, but let's talk about it. With vegetarian, you're able to have this very healthy lifestyle. Veganism also. What is the difference between vegan and vegetarian? Vegan is no animal products, so butter, forget about it. Milk, forget about it. I think they're not allowed with honey. Eggs, they're not allowed. But then I don't know if vegetarians are allowed with eggs because it's technically a meat. Technically, I don't know if you're allowed. You're not allowed a product of, for example, cheese, yogurt, a product of milk from a cow. You can't do that. Nuts are good though. Nuts are good. Nuts are pretty much amazing natural thing. See, we're We're gonna run out of food. Resources is becoming a big problem in the world, and with resources, we're gonna have problem with food and water and shit like that. So what they're gonna do is we're gonna start eating bugs, which are a superfood. They contain a lot of proteins, a lot of nutriment, and bugs are gonna be the next thing. There's grasshopper flour, the flour for all-purpose flour, like making bread, making pizza. It's all part of it, you know. How insane is that? How insane is that? This is nuts. This is nuts. But then, as a vegan, I think I'm thinking about it, and there's a lot of things that you can do. For example, you can do peanut butter. You can do a vegan spaghetti. No, because spaghetti takes pasta. Pasta requires eggs. Forget about it. You can do gnocchi. Gnocchi also requires eggs. Yeah, this is a bit more complex. But bread, you're good. Bread, you're good. Soup, you're good. Soup, you're super good. There's a ton of soup that you can do. You can do a nice tomato soup. You can do a nice. We're Canadian. I don't know if it's a French Canadian, it's a Canadian thing, but pea soup is something that we eat a lot. Pea soup is perfect. Pea soup is perfect. Very nutritious. You can do. You can't even do disco fries. See, and also there's a thing that because, for example, with vegan, you're not allowed to eat fat of animals, right? You're not allowed to eat fat of animals. So when you eat animal grease, you can't. Muslim also. Did you guys know that Muslim? There was a stream. There was this guy called Neon and Fusi. Fusi too, and Fusi was eating this. It's a burrito, but it wasn't. And then he said, "This is haram." Neon said, "This is haram," which means it's not permitted by God. And Fusi's like, "What are you talking about? There's no pork in that. It's read the ingredients." And there's gelatin. Gelatin is made with the fat of pigs. Yeah. There you go. This is a lot more complex than we think. Do I think that you're able to be vegan and healthy? Absolutely. Do I think it's going to be harder? Yes. And at the same time, it's all the question also of birth. Like, I don't think there was a lot of vegan 50 years ago. I don't think there was a lot of vegan in the 90s when I was born. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there was a lot of them. There was more vegan than fucking omnivores, which is us. Omnivores are people that eats all food. You know? So yeah. But it's at the same time it's kind of nuts because if you're born and you never had a piece of meat, it's not a big deal that you're giving it up, right? It's not a big deal because you don't know what it is. You don't really know what you're eating. You don't really know. Oh, what is that? I don't care what that is. It's not a problem because you don't know what you're giving up. Versus somebody else. Yeah. Getting emotional because we're seeing my boy be successful and I'm proud of him. It's tough. It's tough. It's more so a question of. It's really tough. Because it becomes more so a question of, am I giving up on something that I like or not? I heard, and this is a true story, I heard people say that a kid being vegan is children cruelty. Do I agree with that? No. I think I was talking about religion a lot. Now, you guys have heard me talk about religion in this video a lot. I talk about veganism and omnivores and shit like that, right? So why is religion something that is super important in this discussion? Because religion is a way of life. Religion is a will. Religion is something of a belief, of a faith. Veganism, without being a culture, it's a culture. It's not a religion. It's not a faith. It's not a cult. It's a faith. I don't want to hurt other animals for my benefit. I refuse to do that. This is quite noble. This is quite nice. As a kid, my parents wanted me to be very religious. But my parents were weird with that because like, yo, I don't care how often you go to the church, but I want you to be baptized, which I am. I want you to be communized, which I am, and I want to be I want you to go to confirmation, which I didn't do. And yeah. So I think you show the kids how you live, then you let the kid make their own decision. Even with the confirmation, my parents were like, yo, you're gonna receive so many gifts, don't you want gifts? And I'm like, you're literally bribing me, which is against the 7 deadly sin of luxury, of greed. You understand? But then at the same time, it's very normal of them because they want me to be protected in the height of God. They both believe in God, which I do too. I believe in God, but I don't believe in God. I believe in God, a God that has no name. I believe in a God that has no religion. There's a higher power up there. I just don't know what it is, nor do I care. I know there's a higher power up there. That's all I need to know. My parents wanted me to be confirmed, baptized, First Communion, because they wanted me to be accepted in the kingdom of heaven. There's a lot more in that than the kingdom of heaven. But at the same time, they were trying to protect me, trying to ensure me in life. See, I come from a family where the Godfather is in charge of your religious background. My Godfather is an amazing human being, but not religious at all. Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes I wish I had religion. See, I would go vegetarian for months. Yeah, I would. Not because I believe in the whole, like, oh, you must be vegetarian if you want to be a good person. But because I like the will. Like, for example, I'm seeing people, people in church, people at the mosque, and they're praying 5 to 6 times a day. Would I do it? No. Because, again, I don't believe in Allah, which is my choice. I believe in okay, this is complex. I believe in a version of Allah, I believe in a version of Buddha, I believe in a version of Jesus, I believe in a version of David, I believe in a version of Shiva, I believe in a version of every single god that you can think about. Every single god that you can think about. They just don't have a name. Is there more than one god? I don't know. I have no clue. I'm very open-minded, spiritually speaking. Yeah. But the thing with, for example, praying 5 times a day, there's discipline behind it, and that I like a lot. Because you need the discipline in life, you know? The vegetarian, and again, this is not going to be a nice subject, but the vegetarian that goes out with friends, and they have to ask for a salad because there's no vegetarian menu. It sucks. You don't want to eat salad every single meal. But it's your choice, right? In fact, you cannot eat pork, and in fact, you cannot drink alcohol. That's also something like that. Anyway, I love you guys. Take it easy. Peace.